Have you ever felt a chill in a perfectly warm room? A presence you can't see but can feel in your bones? For the Lutz family, this wasn't just a feeling, it was a living nightmare. And it all started in a beautiful Dutch colonial house at 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville. Most people know the story, but what you might not know is that just 13 months before the Lutz family moved in, this house was the scene of a horrific crime. On a cold November night in 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. took a rifle and systematically ended the lives of his parents and four siblings as they slept in their beds. He claimed voices in the house told him to do it. When George and Kathy Lutz bought the house a year later, they thought they'd found their dream home. It was spacious, had a boathouse, and was surprisingly affordable. They knew about the murders, but they weren't the kind of people to be spooked by ghost stories. They had the house blessed by a priest, Father Mancuso, just to be safe. But safety was the last thing they would find there. During the blessing, the priest claimed he heard a deep, masculine voice command him to get out. He felt an unseen hand slap him across the face. He quickly left, warning the Lutzes not to use the upstairs room where he'd heard the voice, the former bedroom of two of the DeFeo boys. He told them never to sleep in that room. Of course, they planned to use it as a sewing room, so they didn't think much of it. But strange things started happening almost immediately. The house was plagued by a relentless, bone-chilling cold, even with the heating cranked up. Swarms of flies would appear out of nowhere in the middle of winter, covering the windows of the sewing room. George Lutz began to change. He became withdrawn, angry, and obsessed with the fireplace, spending hours staring into the flames. He started waking up at 3:15 a.m. every single night, the exact time the DeFeo murders were estimated to have occurred. Kathy Lutz began having vivid nightmares about the murders. She would see the events unfold as if she were there. Their youngest daughter, Missy, developed an imaginary friend named Jodie. This wasn't your typical imaginary friend. Missy described Jodie as a demonic pig-like creature with glowing red eyes. She said Jodie told her they would live in the house forever. One night, George was awakened by the sound of the front door slamming open and shut. He ran downstairs to find nothing, but as he looked up, he saw Missy's rocking chair in her room, rocking back and forth violently on its own. The paranormal activity escalated. Green slime oozed from the walls and keyholes. A crucifix on the wall rotated until it was upside down. Kathy levitated off the bed while she was sleeping. George saw an apparition of a hooded figure pointing at him. He even claimed to have seen Kathy transform into an old, 90-year-old woman, her face filled with wrinkles and hate. If stories of the unexplained fascinate you, and you want to explore more mysteries that blur the line between reality and the supernatural, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss what we uncover next. The family brought in paranormal investigators, Ed and Lauren Warren. The Warrens conducted a seance in the house, and what they experienced cemented Amityville's reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. During their investigation, Ed was physically pushed to the floor by an unseen force. Lauren, a clairvoyant, was overwhelmed by a sense of profound sadness and evil, particularly in the basement. She felt she was standing on unholy ground and believed the house was a gateway to something demonic, something that predated the DeFeo murders. The Warrens' investigation captured a now famous photograph. It was taken by an automated camera set up on the second-floor landing. In the black and white image, peeking out from one of the doorways, is the ghostly figure of a small boy with glowing white eyes. Some believe this is the spirit of John Matthew DeFeo, one of the murdered children. The photo wasn't discovered until years after the film was developed, adding another layer of chilling mystery to the case. After just 28 days, the Lutz family couldn't take it anymore. One terrifying night, the phenomena became so violent and overwhelming that they fled the house in the middle of the night, leaving all their possessions behind. They never returned. They claimed the final night involved spectral marching bands, shifting walls, and a large, shadowy figure that revealed itself to George and their son, Daniel. They grabbed nothing but the clothes on their backs and ran for their lives, never to set foot in 112 Ocean Avenue again. The story of the Amityville Horror has been debated for decades. Skeptics argue that the Lutzes fabricated the entire story for financial gain, pointing to inconsistencies in their accounts and the fact that subsequent owners of the house have reported no paranormal activity. The lawyer for Ronald DeFeo Jr. even admitted that he and the Lutzes created this horror story over many bottles of wine, but the Lutzes stood by their story until their dying days, insisting that what they experienced was real. They passed lie detector tests and maintained their account was true, even under intense scrutiny. Father Mancuso also corroborated his part of the story, confirming the terrifying events of the house blessing. And then there are the Warrens, seasoned investigators who investigated thousands of cases, who always maintained that the evil in the Amityville house was authentic. So, what is the truth? Was it a massive, elaborate hoax, a shared delusion brought on by the psychological weight of living in a murder house? Or did the Lutz family truly stumble upon a place so deeply corrupted by evil that it tried to consume them? The house itself has since been renovated. The iconic eye-like windows that gave the house its menacing face are gone. The address has been changed to protect the privacy of the current owners, but the legend remains. The real terror of Amityville isn't just about floating objects or strange noises, it's about the unknown. It's the idea that a place can be tainted by tragedy, that a darkness can linger long after the physical events have passed. Whether you believe the story or not, one question lingers in the air, as cold and persistent as the chill in that sewing room. What really happened inside 112 Ocean Avenue? What dark secrets are still trapped within those walls, waiting for the next family to turn the key? The truth, perhaps, is a ghost story in itself, one we may never fully solve. Thanks for watching.